Dear racing fans, we've been waiting for you. We've been working, prepping, training, putting together thrilling races, high stakes, favorite traditions, and fresh experiences. From right on the rail to the top of the hill. Whether it's your first meet or your 50th, we can't wait to welcome you back this fall. Love, Keeneland.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome into the Keeneland Look Ahead. Jeremy Plonk here from Horse Player Now. We are looking ahead to the Wednesday, October 15th program, and we get midway through that card. We hit the midway point of this fall meet. It is day 9 of 17. We are 8 in the books. We've got a 5-day racing week getting ready to kick off Wednesday beginning at 1 o'clock. 5-day racing week this week in week number 3. Then week number 4, the final week of the racing meet, will be a 4-day week closing on Saturday, a week from this Saturday. So plenty of racing left to go for the season. We're going to talk some stats and trends tonight. We're going to look ahead to this card with 8 races on the program for Wednesday. No carryovers. Had some big carryovers over the last few days at Keeneland. They may kick up their heels again because when you look at week 3 of fall meets here at Keeneland, I went back and looked over the last several years. There's a propensity for some long shots this week. In fact, 13% of the races during week 3s in the past several years in the fall meet have been horses winning at 10-1 or more. Typically, you're looking at about 9% of races at Keeneland are won by horses 10-1 or more. Week 3, it jumps to 13%. Now, this is a little bit different point in the meet. You get a little more blue collar, a little more Kentucky regional racing, and not quite as many of the national shippers that you get certainly in week number 1 with Fall Stars weekend. Then in week number 2, you get a lot of horses too that are from out of town. Now you're getting into a lot of the Kentucky proper racing. And so your simulcast audience that may not play Kentucky year round, but play the big circuits, they get into week 3 and it's not necessarily their groove as much as it is the people who focused in on Kentucky hardcore. Churchill Downs horses are won 85 of the 230 races. So that's over a third, well over a third of the races were horses that ran in the Churchill September meet that come back and win here during week 3. So this is something where if you follow that Churchill September meet, it might have been a little bit too close to the start of the Keeneland meet to see a lot of those horses run back or run back with success. Now you get a little bit deeper into this Churchill meet. Those Churchill are the Keeneland meet. Those Churchill September horses are really going to start to kind of find their groove. The competition will get easier. There's less of the Saratoga horses left over to go against, and therefore you're going to see those numbers rise. Now, keep your eye out again, like I said, for prices. 13% of the winners, that's about 1 in every 6-7 races, are going to pop in here, in the ballpark of about every 7 races that you're going to see a horse 10-1 or more. So let's keep an eye out for that on the programs here over the next several days. As for week 3, the top trainer in week 3 in fall meets over the years, definitely Brad Cox, no question about that. He's got 16 wins, not much difference at the top. Wesley Ward with 11, you'd expect. Mike Maker with 10 wins, though, during week 3. And we talk about those Kentucky horses, and, Maker is about as Kentucky as it gets when you talk about the year-round runners, whether it's Turfway in the winter, all the way through Ellis and the Keeneland spring and fall, obviously, the Churchill meets. Maker's third there with 10 wins. He's right near the top. Steve Asmussen usually does good this week. The trainer to watch here, Norm Cassie's had 7 wins in recent week 3s in fall meets. So Norm Cassie won, maybe who saves his horses against the tougher competition, perhaps. He runs a lot of horses in Churchill September. So I'll give him a little more time. 3rd week of the meet. Keep an eye on Norm Cassie's horses here over the next couple of days. Rudy Brisset also does well here this time of the meet with 6 wins. So a couple stats to look at for week 3 as this meet changes. It gets a little more blue collar and a lot more Kentucky here as we roll on. As for the first half of the meet, what we saw at Keeneland, Irad Ortiz comfortably ahead in the jockey standings by Keeneland standards. He's got 12 wins for the meet so far, riding at a good percentage. His brother Jose second with 9. He's tied with Luis Saez and Johnny Velasquez. They each have 9. Velasquez missed a couple days, obviously, and still has the 9 winners. He went to New York, then he took off for personal reasons on Sunday. So Johnny V missing 2 days of the meet at least, and he's right up there with 9 wins. Surprising, Flavian Pratt with 4. Not what you expect from him, the guy who took the spring meet riding title here at Keeneland. Flavian Pratt down in the standings right now with 4. As for the trainers, Brendan Walsh has been great since really the jump of this meet. He's 7 for 26 at the meet, hitting well over 25% there with, I believe, 3 or 4 stakes wins now. Really good run in the stakes for Brendan Walsh. Todd Pletcher, 6 for 13. He's not missing, and he's bringing some horses here that have some conditions, the early allowance conditions, the maidens. He's got horses ready to run here this meet. Brad Cox, 6 for 17, just about what you'd expect from him. Wesley Ward, 5 for 16, good numbers there. Surprising number in the trainer standings. Chad Brown, 0 for 12. Chad doesn't go 0 for 12 very often. I know he went in a little slump earlier this year. I believe it was kind of maybe towards the end of Gulfstream, the beginning of Aqueduct, somewhere along there. I know he had another cold bout at one point during the year, but over 12 at this current meet at Keeneland for trainer Chad Brown. All right, so those are the numbers to get us ready to get into handicapping. We've got 8 races for you on this program for Wednesday, and we'll get started. Conditions should be good for racing again. Forecast again for really unseasonably nice temperatures, sunny skies, temps, I believe, right around 70 degrees. There is no Keeneland Turf Pick 3 because there are only 2 turf races scheduled on this Wednesday card. So again, no Keeneland Turf Pick 3 on Wednesday. Let's get rolling. Here is the snapshot of the program and show you how these races line up. Always important in an 8-race card to consider the overlap races in here, the swing races 4 and 5, because the early pick 5 will be races 1 through 5. The late pick 5 will be races 4 through 8. So you get a double overlap there in races 4 and 5, part of both sequences. The early pick 4 is races 2 through 5. The late pick 4, races 5 through 8. So race 5 will be a part of both of the pick 4s, early and late. Key plays on the card from here are going to come up in races 4, 7, and 8. I've got several plays I kind of feel a little bit alike about throughout the card. So identifying 3, I'm not so sure that they stand out like a sore thumb. This is going to be more one of those handicapping days where I want to watch the tote, see what kind of prices I'm getting on some of the horses I like. A lot of these are fairly similar opinions, in terms of strength and confidence. Toyota Super High 5 will be the 8th and final race on the card. Pick 6 players, you get underway in race number 3 on an 8-race card, races 3 through 8. Let's do it. Race number 1, first up to the handicapper selectors box we go. You can get this at Keeneland.com. Easy print function as well. Scott Hazelton, Tom Leach, myself, and Kim Nelson. We line up race number 1. And we got a couple pairs, aces and threes here in race number 1. It's a field of 7. These are $20,000 claimers. If you look at the field in this race, 7 horses in the field, 5 of them were claimed in their most recent start, which means they're changing barns. You try to look at the first time off the claim stats, maybe if the horse has been claimed in the past and run well for a new barn on a switch. These are a little bit difficult handicapping races for me, and because so many horses get claimed in New York, it's one of the reasons why I don't handicap the New York races particularly well, because there's so much claiming that goes on there at Aqueduct throughout the course of the year with the high purses and the lower, relatively lower claiming prices. So a lot of these horses changing barns in here. I don't have a strong opinion in here, but I'm going number 3. I Got No Money. This is a horse who was closing at Prairie Meadows. It's a very speed favoring racetrack. If you can close and be successful there, which this horse has been throughout the course of the summer, I think that's a good sign. Edgar Morales is riding really well over the last few days. Kelly Martinez, a trainer from Iowa, has already brought a winner in here to score at the meet at Keeneland. That was in Starter Allowance Company that she won the other race. She'll try to get another one here in Claiming Company. 6 furlong claimers here in this particular spot. Favorites are 9 for 22 in these type of races over the years, $20,000 to $30,000 claimers. And the average winner is 9-2 odds. So really about what you would expect there. 9-2 is a good average price in a race. So it's a fair handicapping race. Not a long shot look, not a dead set favorite kind of look. I've got it 3, 1, and 4. The 1's the top choice in here for Scott and Tom. If you're looking at multi-race wagers, I would consider the 4 Macron in here as well. Certainly a horse who hasn't run well on a wet track. So kind of dismissed that last race at Churchill. I don't know. This is a horse who's kind of up and down. I don't know if I trust him enough to use. Probably try to just get by with 3 and 1 in this particular spot. But I got to admit, I am not wild about this particular race in race number 1. I'll go with the 3, though. I Got No Money. That one is, 9-2 in the morning line. Again, we'll see if Morales can keep a pretty decent hand going. He's been riding pretty well the last few days. Go to the second race on the card. The early pick 4 is going to start in this one. If we go too deep in the opener, we've got a field of 7 here to consider in race number 2. 7 furlong starter allowance in this one. I'm going to number 3, Uncashed. I don't know about the distance. This is absolutely the speed of the race. The 2 Unlimited Potentials also got some speed, but that's in mile races. The 1 Shot Shell also has speed, but in mile races. I'm not really wild about the closers in this particular spot and which one I'd want to trust. So I went with number 3, Uncashed, as the horse to beat in here. I'm just going to take the speed for Larry Ravelli. This horse has a win over the track at Keeneland for claiming 20 back in April. Now at the starter allowance 20, fits the conditions really well. That's the race that got this horse eligible for this spot. And the last time at Churchill was the starter allowance 20 level, was a winner. This horse has been favored almost every start. I think 11 of 12 showing up in the past performances. Likes to win races, 10 for 21 lifetime. I'll take the 7-2 in the morning line, but again, I'm not certain at the 7 furlong distance that this horse makes the entire trip. So the 4 Pinfire Even Money in the morning line is another one who, this horse has some inconsistencies about him. And so after wins, the horse is 1 for 4. After layoffs, like the horse has not run since August, 1 for 3 off the layoff. So while the overall record looks good and there are some massive buyer speed figures, 100, 2 of the last 3 starts, the horse has not fired back right after running big races in the past. So I'm not willing to take a short price on Pinfire, but certainly his best puts him probably back in the winner's circle. Number 2 in here, Unlimited Potential, cutting back in distance, might be all right. Has run pretty well here at Keeneland. The win in second came in a maiden special weight at a mile and 16th with Pletcher back in spring of 2024. Has been claimed a time or two since and switched barns, but this horse did win a maiden special here back in the spring 24 meet, number 2, Unlimited Potential. So 3-4-2. If you wanted to take a horse maybe from well off the pace, the 7 Alternate Reality might be the closer to consider in here. The 5 Pain. So if this is a race, even though there's only 7 in here, you might look around a little bit. This is a tough spot, and for me, it's certainly not one of my key plays. With a 7-horse field, you'd like to be able to narrow a little bit more, but I think I'll try to get by too deep in the first leg, and then in this race, I want to use a little bit. The Ravelli horse might just gut him and go wire to wire. But if that one backs up, it could be a lot of different combinations coming in this particular spot. As for the other handicappers in here, Pinfire picked on top, Alternate Reality, the closer for Kim. 3-4-2-7, maybe throw a 5 in there, Pain. I could see talking 5 deep in this particular spot. To the third race we go next. Race number 3 is a non-winners of 2 lifetime claimer. They're going to mile and 16th on the main track here. We've had 43 of these non-2L claimers in the fall meet. Average winner is 4-1 in these route races. Favorites win about a third of the time. So this is pretty normal stuff here. Typically, horses do not stretch out sprint the layoff. So number 6, Miss Tiffy, is going to try to break that trend coming out of a race at 6 furlongs at Churchill Downs last time, stretching out here. We've had 43 of these fall meet non-2 claimers, as I mentioned, going long. 33 of the 43 winners were horses who prepped at a mile or longer. So only about 1 in 4 is won by a horse who's stretching out. 3 out of 4 won by horses coming out of route races. You got several in here, like number 6, Miss Tiffy, stretching out. That one at 3-1 in the morning line. The 2 and the 3 are also trying to stretch out in this particular spot. I landed on the 9, Golden Age Actress. I thought this horse had the best maiden win on paper at Churchill Maiden Special back in May. Now, the horses run all on the turf. We'll see what happens on the dirt. By street sense, those do fairly well here over the main track at Keeneland over the years. So inside post position, I know the distance won't be a problem. The pedigree says probably okay for the dirt and Jose Ortiz at a fair number, 6-1 in the morning line. So I went with number 1, Golden Age Actress, also the top pick in here for Scott. She's a Swede. The 5 is my second choice in here. Another one coming out of a Churchill race. It has the second best maiden win, I think. This horse broke the maiden for a maiden special at Fairgrounds back in 2024. First time in for a claiming tag now for trainer Kenny McPeak on the class drop. So the 2 best maiden maiden winners in this race, the 1 Golden Age Actress winning the maiden special at Churchill, and then She's a Swede winning the maiden special at Fairgrounds. I think those are the 2 best maiden wins. In a race where I really don't like anybody that much, that's why I'm going 1-5. The 2 Princess Nye comes out of a sprint, routed a mile at Ellis and did okay in that one. By Nyquist, you've got to respect the Nyquist over this track. And this horse, Princess Nye, has 1 local appearance, and it was a win back in April, albeit on a sloppy track or muddy track. But this horse has run okay on fast tracks as well. 2 Princess Nine with a good post under Luis Saez, certainly one to consider in here. Again, the preference is the horses coming out of 2-turn races. So I'm going to go 1, 5, and 2 in here. But if you wanted to include the 2 in here from a multi-race standpoint, I wouldn't argue with you. That's the one it probably could show a lot of pace in here. And if nobody's any good, say the 1 coming off the turf just isn't any good, the 5 dropping in class is, just not that good, and Kenny's trying to drop and find a spot. If the 1 and 5 don't fire at all, then the 2 kind of takes away a lot of the variables and just kind of will be up front throughout 12-1 in the morning line. I could see a case in here for using the 1, 5, and 2 in race number 3. Not too wild about the card so far, as you can tell, in terms of like strong, confident opinions. That's why when we talk about our key plays on the program, they're 4, 7, and 8 today as we get a little bit deeper into the program. So if that's the case, whenever you're handicapping a card, if you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, but how your picks line up on a card and your confidence level lines up, you want to save money then in your budget. Maybe you play the early pick 5 or pick 4, but very lightly, a smaller amount than you normally would, or just play a few bucks on a couple of those races, intra-race, to try to get a little bingo going and, enjoy the handicapping process and the work that you've put into it. But for your serious plays, save your budget for where they come. And for me, the first of those is going to come up here in race number 4. So it'll be time to take the Band-Aid off the money clip, if you will, off the roll of cash and get started in race number 4. The pick 5 begins in this race. This is a race that overlaps with the early and late multi-race wagers. So the early pick 5, late pick 5, both part of this sequence. I like number 1 in here, Battle Shipper. So I'm going to here at 6-1 in the morning line. Battle Shipper, no one else has this horse picked anywhere. We're on the island, so I like that. I know the Prairie Meadows form is kind of, you thumb your nose at it. We got Kelly Martinez again with another Prairie Meadows Shipper. This horse was protected in the last couple since Kelly claimed him. This horse has run a win in an allowance company last time. Now in for the claiming tag for $32,000. Go back to the form at Oaklawn. If you kind of thumb your nose at the Prairie Meadows form, which I can understand, people will look at that circuit in Iowa and not respect it. But this horse ran in the Purple Martin Stakes at Oaklawn back in March, ran 4th in that spot, and was right in contention most of the way through. Prior to that, 75,000 non-winners at 2 claimer at Oaklawn, a very good second in that spot. So this horse has run a couple quality races at Oaklawn. If you can run well at Oaklawn, you can run well for $32,000 here at Keeneland. So number 1, Battle Shipper, I'm not worried about the class. And what I like is the current form. 4 wins in the last 6 starts. I think this horse is better than just a Prairie Meadows form right now, because I think that Oaklawn form kind of underscores that there's some ability here at this kind of level. So number 1, Battle Shipper, I like. I think we're going to get the price. And this handicapper's consensus grid tells me we just might so, because no one else even has the 1 Battle Shipper picked in their top 3. Other picks on top in here, number 2, Miss Arlington, big class dropper in here for Brian Williamson. Hasn't done anything in for, since last November, but has been running against much tougher competition. Showed a little bit of pace in those races and have faded. We'll see how far the 2 goes near the front. Jared Loveberry, the jockey, Jared Loveberry, a good front end rider. He's going to try to send in this particular spot. I think the 1 Battle Shipper is also going to have some pace in here. So 2 Miss Arlington on the class drop, picked by a couple of the handicappers. The 5 Greek Heiress is Kim's top choice in here. This was my second pick. If you like Battle Shipper winning 4 of the last 6, then Greek Heiress says, I'll do you one better. 5 of the last 8 for that runner. For trainer Lindsay Schultz, who's already won a couple races here at the meet. So this barn is clicking pretty well. You get Jose Ortiz to ride, second leading rider right now. Greek Era certainly a threat in here. 1 and 5 are the 2 I really like. The speed of the 7, Golden Degree, 8-5 in the morning line. Nobody's got the 8-5 morning line favorite picked on top in here. A couple second place tabs. I've got that horse 3rd. I don't think the horse can sustain all the way through. I've got that line at the end just worries me that this horse kind of runs into the wall. I know it's been against a little bit better competition than some of these, but Golden Degree on the big class drop, a little suspicious on the drop here. I think it is worth good money. They claimed the horse for 40, and the purse here is 69,000. So, winner's share of this race is going to be close to that 40,000 level. If you happen to get claimed, it can be a successful profit with Golden Degree, but I just don't know about the distance in this particular spot. I've got some others that I like better, and at 8-5, I think you might be vulnerable in there with some other speed also in the race. It's going to be interesting because I really don't think that there's a great closer in here. I don't think there's an option from off the pace that really gets you excited. So I'm going to take some inside, power in here, and hopefully a battleship or under Morales, we can get Morales going again, and Kelly Martinez continue a good run. 1 and 5 for me in this particular spot. I'd use the 7 underneath in exactas, a 1-7 exacta for sure. But in terms of a multi-race wager, I might just swing with the 1 here in a solo. And if we're right, we're really right, and we can get something spread in some of those other races. But race number 4 is going to kick off the late pick 5 here. And we're going to start it with one of our key plays on the card. Number 1, Battleshipper in the 4th. Maiden Claimers get things on the back half of the card going in race number 5, $30,000 level here for a 6-furlong sprint. These are 2-year-old Maiden Claimers. So we've had 89 or 69 of these more than 100. So it's 69 horses dropped out of maiden specials. 37 came back in maiden claimers last time out of more than 100 races for these 2-year-old maiden claimers in the fall. So it's almost twice as likely a horse to win this race dropping out of a maiden special than a horse who's coming back in a maiden claimer. So you kind of look at the past performance lines and figure, let's lean on the horses who haven't dropped yet. The ones who have already dropped into the maiden claimer are only about half as likely to win as the horses dropping from the maiden specials. First-time starters win less than a quarter of these races. So you're really leaning in these particular spots to the horses dropping out of the maiden specials. That's the way I'm going to line it up here in race number 5. And from a wagering standpoint, the late pick 4 starts here. But again, this 5th race is really a key race in terms of the multi-race wagers. It's the end of the early pick 5. It's the start of the late pick 4. It's the end of the late pick or early pick 4. And it's the second leg of the late pick 5. So a lot cooking here through race number 5. I took number 6 in here, Go-Go Jack, Rudy Brisset. We talked about a trainer who does well during the 3rd week of the meet. He's had good success here during week 3, holding his runners for these spots. He drops from the maiden special to the maiden claimer. That's always been key. And in Brisset's maiden claimers here, 2-year-olds in the fall meet, he started 10 of them. He's got 2 wins, a second, and 4 thirds. 7 out of 10 in the money, 20% wins, 2 for 10 for Rudy Brisset with these maiden special to maiden claiming drops like this with the 2-year-old maiden claimers in the fall. This horse comes out of a mile and a 16th at Churchill, showing some speed, cuts back in distance here to 6 furlongs, 9-2 in the morning line with leading rider Irad Ortiz. Go Jack Go, my top pick in here. Tom's also got the 6 Go Jack Go on top, and the 6 is the second choice in here for Scott. So are we going to get 9-2? Maybe, maybe not, based on the other handicappers in here. This horse might get bet a little bit more than that. I mean, 9-2 is the morning line favorite price. Nick Tamaro's morning line's got this race really as kind of a crapshoot and a toss-up. We'll see how it shakes out. 9-2 on the 6. The 10 horse in here, Tim's, is for Steve Asmussen. Steve Asmussen's horses in maiden claiming 2-year-old races like this in the fall hit 23%, 7 for 30. So a nice percentage for him. This is another one dropping maiden special to maiden 30. Showed a little speed going along and now cuts back. Number 10, Tim's, doesn't look a whole lot different than number 6, Go Jack Go. The maiden special dropper, cutting back in trip, showed some speed going long. Trainer does well with these kind of horses. Not a lot of separation between the 6 and the 10. The 10, Tim's, is 10-1 in the morning line. So maybe one to keep an eye on in here. 11 Tim's. It should be not Would You Dare the 10, but the 11 Tim's. It should be my second choice in here. Error in the graphic there. I'll have to get that fixed on the website. It should be 6, 11, 12 are the horses I'm looking at in this particular spot. Again, here in race number 5, if you're following along on the graphic, 6, 11, 10. The 11 Tim's should be the second choice in here. And like I said, in setting it up, the 6 and 11 look very similar to me in paper on why you would like one. You would like both. So maybe a situation where you use both of them here. Number 12, Springhawk of the first-time starters. Looks to me like a horse who's got some ability based on the works. Eduardo Caramori won a similar 7-furlong maiden claimer here during the 24 fall meet. Now we'll try to win one at 6 furlongs by Spun to Run. This horse could be, pretty live. Let's see what the tote board looks like on number 12, Springhawk, when we get to that race. But you won't know that going into the multi-race wagers. Dream of You, the 4, top choice in here for both Kim and Scott. They're going the first-time starter angle. This horse, Dream of You, by Tom's Day Top. First-time starter for trainer Randy Mortz. We'll see. Maybe Scott can make his case for that first-time starter tomorrow on the Today at Keeneland show, 11:30 a.m. Eastern on the simulcast feed at Keeneland. Curious to see what he's got on Dream of You, a horse that I didn't give enough look to, perhaps. Both Kim and Scott taking that one on top. But I'll go with the 6, Go Jack Go. Scott, or Tom and I are both on the same. 6, 11, and 12. And again, I would just use 6 and 11 in this particular spot in race number 5. We'll switch gears now and go to the 6th race on the card. No new wagers starting in this one. 1.5-mile turf marathon here. We don't get too many of these in the fall meets. A 1.5-mile turf marathon in a Lowndes company. We see some stakes that way. Overall, over the years, in the 17 years of our database, 18 years of our database now, there are 40 of these races in fall meets. So 2 or 3 a season, and 12 furlong turf allowance races. We've seen an average winner at 7-2 odds. Favorites are 14 out of 40. So a decent performance from the favorites, but certainly not overperforming. 7-2 average is fairly light. Usually a 9-2 average is about what we see on a race. So these races are flushed out decently logical by the betting public typically. And I think this is a pretty logical race on paper. I didn't make it one of my key plays of the day because of the price. Number 7, Ira Stark is a favorite in here, dropping out of the Kentucky Downs Ladies Marathon. Prior to that was a nice allowance winner. Horses run in Stakes Company Group 2 winner down in Argentina. It looks pretty solid. Jose Ortiz riding for Nacho Correas, 7-5 in the morning line. 5 looks solid in here. The 2 Kiss Blue, 3-1 in the morning line. Also coming out of Kentucky Downs, Riley Mott, Tyler Gaffleone teaming up here, coming out of a series of solid races. One at Kentucky Downs, one at Horseshoe Indianapolis, another at Prescott on 3 different surfaces, turf, dirt, and synthetic, and ran well in all 3. Just a horse who likes to run. Kiss Blue, pretty darn reliable, and I think should be solid in here as well. Other one to consider, the 5-2 and the 4, Poppy the Princess. This is a 3-year-old filly taking on Elders. Has run okay here over the track at Keeneland with a 2nd and a 4th in 2 trips. Comes out of the Ellis Park turf in a decent effort in that one, 5th of 8 for Troy Newton. Julian Leperoux, the old kingpin here at Keeneland, doesn't win like he used to, but certainly knows the way to the winner's circle on the right one. He'll get a 6-pound weight break here. That's the benefit of a 3-year-old taking on Elders, only carrying the 118. At 1.5 miles, getting 6 pounds, that can be beneficial for Poppy the Princess. So 5-2-6, the way I've got this one lined up. But Ira Stark, I think, gets through this race. The 2 Kiss Blues is useful in here. Maybe too deep in this particular spot for me. Kenny McPeak's got the 6 Royal Suite. I considered that one. Irad riding, coming off back-to-back wins at Colonial Downs. Colonial horses have been kind of hot and cold at the meet. In the right spot, they can win, but overall, they haven't been certainly overperforming, I don't think. So Royal Suite's got to kind of show it to me against these Kentucky Downs horses. So Kentucky Downs runners in here should have the upper hand. I expect them to be tough in here. With no Naira horses in this race, the Kentucky Downs horses should have run of the race. 5, 2, and 4 the way I'm going to go. 5 and 2 probably get you through any multi-race wagers, maybe even just a straight-up single of the 5. Let's move to the 7th race. We've got back-to-back key plays on the card coming up to finish things off. Race number 7 is a maiden special weight in here for the 2-year-old fillies, 7 furlongs. We've had 49 of these 2-year-old maiden specials going 7 furlongs in the fall. Favorites, 19 for 49, so right at 38%. That's about a national average for favorites. So a fairly reliable race in these kind of spots. The winner's only a length and a quarter off the lead after the only opening half mile. So you want somebody who's got a little bit of speed in here, and only 9 of the 49 winners close more than 3 lengths. So this is a race where horses up fairly close can be most effective. And as we see with a lot of the 2-year-old maiden specials here in the fall at Keeneland, you're looking for horses from Churchill and you're looking for first-time starters. We said there were 49 of these races. 19 of the winners from Churchill, 19 of the winners were first-time starters. That's 38 of the 49 making up the winners there. Saratoga has produced 5 of the winners, and I think Saratoga's got a shot to produce this one. There are some Churchill horses in here I think that have a decent look to give, but number 1, Tim Tam's going to be my play from Saratoga. I think this is a horse who fits really well in this particular spot. We'll make our case for Tim Tam as one of our key plays on the card. Scott's also got this one on top. 7-2 in the morning line for trainer Phil Bauer. This is a $975,000 Medaglia d'Oro who just blew him open at Saratoga before fading late. That was at 6.5 furlongs, a difficult debut distance. It was bet to 8-5 that day, so it was very live on the tote board with Jose Ortiz aboard. Just got nailed at the end by a filly named 5 Bars. She came back and ran 3rd in the Grade 1 Frazette Stakes in her next start. So that was a good winner who caught her that day. Bauer's barn has been relatively cold this year compared to past years, and the fact that he had a debut runner 8-5 at Saratoga, the word was out. I think Tim Tam comes right back here, speed from the inside, forgets to look back in this particular spot. The 2 doesn't have a lot of pace. The 3's coming out of a turf race. You don't know what you're going to get speed-wise from a lot of these first-time starters, unless some of those really have a lot of get up and go that we're not aware of. You really got number 6 6 Essential Coffee in terms of the speed to kind of worry about. Otherwise, Tim Tam can be loose. And on the rail, we've removed all the variables here. You got a good jock in Ortiz, Jose. You've got a horse who was very live in the debut at Saratoga. Speed on the rail coming out of a key race where the winner came back to run third in the Frazette Stakes. So give me the 1 Tim Tam on top in here. Over the 5, Live Life. Now, this is a 20-1 first-time starter on the morning line by Omaha Beach. These Omaha Beaches all run on the main track here at Keeneland. I'm looking for this as a live pedigree play. Nacho Correa's debuting this one. Declan Cannon gets the call. Some bullet workouts back a ways on the workout tab. This horse has been at Keeneland going back to June. This is absolutely a home game. I'm looking for Live Life as a first-time starter. The 5 at a nice price, 20-1 in the morning line. I don't think the horse is going to get touched because there's a lot of other bigger named options maybe for that people are going to be leaning towards in here. Brendan Walsh has got a starter in this particular spot, more sweeter. Asmussen's got the 6 Essential Coffee, a horse who's been in stakes company prior. Cassie's got one in here. Keneally. There are other people who are going to get bet in here more than I think the 5 Live Life. So I think we're going to get a fair price in here. The 10 is the other one I want to take a look at. Will Walden's second-time starter, Bon Sant in the career debut at Churchill was bet the 9-5, ran a good third in that particular race. Kind of got stuck in between horses. That's never a comfortable place to be, especially for an inexperienced horse. Bon Sant maybe towards the outside in this particular field under Luis Saez could get a little more comfortable trip. Respect for the 10. That's the morning line favorite. But give me the 1 Tim Tam or Tam Tam. We're just going to try to wire these on the front end. If we can get the 5 in the number, 1-5 all, 1 all 5. That's kind of the way I'm looking at lining up a trifecta in this spot. I'm going to single the 1. I'm going to dive in on this one all the way, try to go wire to wire. And if I can get the 5 in underneath second or third, hopefully we'll take down a nice trifecta in this particular spot. So race number 7, one of my key plays on the card, the 1 Tam Tam. And we go to the final race on the program, Toyota Super High 5 in this particular spot. Key play number 3 on the program here, first level turf sprint allowance race. We've had 17 of these in past fall meets, the turf sprinters in the first level allowance condition, the N1X, if you will. Favorites are 7 out of 17 in those particular spots, but 5 of the winners have been $20 plus. So feast or famine in this particular kind of race. And we've got another full field turf sprint. You know, in the full field turf sprints, I love post positions 3, 4, and 5. The power post, statistically, they have a very strong edge, especially in these allowance and maiden level kind of races when you get the large field. The 3 is Machaya. The 4 is Lost and Found. The 5 is Tales of the Heart. Start my handicapping in there. These horses win an inordinate percentage at a large price, ROI, for their relative chances of winning. So there is definitely an advantage to be in post 3, 4, and 5. And Machaya is going to be my top pick in here, a horse who's run over the course, 4th in the Jessamine last year, going around 2 turns, but his turf sprinted pretty well. 3rd in the Mamzelle Stakes, turf sprinting at Churchill. Going to be coming from well back, but they get blinkers on. Ben Curtis rides. You're going to get a ground-saving trip. Jimmy DeVito, the trainer here. Give me number 3, Machaya, as my top pick here in the last race on the card. I've got it 3, 5, and 11. The 5 also from one of those power posts. Mike Maker. We talked about Mike Maker having big week 3s here in the past at Keeneland. Tyler Gaffleone's going to ride this one. He won a similar race, Mike Maker, in 2021 and 2023. One of those 9-1. In fact, both of those runners, Mike Maker winning these first level turf sprint allowances in the fall. He won a similar race in 21, a similar race in 23, both at 9-1. So again, power post for the 3, power post for the 5. There's a lot to like about both. I'm going to try to get through with both of these horses in the multi-race wagers, as well as number 11, Bunchen. So for me in this race, it's 3, 5 with the 11, and then the combinations go around that. I'm going to use the 11 in the 2nd and 3rd spots. Bunchen, who is a course winner here for trainer Wesley Ward. Of course, you know he's the king of the turf sprints. You get a great turf sprint rider in Joel Rosario. I think Bunchen will be lower than that 6-1 morning line. But if we can get a price that we want, the 3 and the 5 in here. So for me, it's 3, 5 heavily boxed. It's 3, 11, 5, 11, the other way that we look at it. If you want to get into tries and supers, 3, 5 with all with 11, 3, 5 with 11 with all. That would be the kind of way I'd be kind of trying to match up this race in terms of the tries and supers. But I'm taking those 2 power posts to wrap things up, 2 deep in the final race. Machaya to 3, my top choice in here. But I don't see a big separation between that one and the 5. These 2 fillies, I think, are very evenly matched in this particular spot, and I like both of them. So we're going to try to use them in a fair amount of equality when it comes to different combinations. That'll wrap up the handicapping for the Wednesday card. 8 races lined up for you again. Sunny skies, fast track, good to firm turf expected for the action on Wednesday at Keeneland. This racing week has a couple stakes days for you on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, 2 really nice sprint races. The Grade 2 Raven Run for the 3-year-old fillies and the Grade 3 Perryville for the 3-year-old colts. You got a couple horses coming in from California to run in those. Really, I thought the Raven Run came up as one of the more interesting races this year. A couple Kentucky Oaks alums in there. This is a good-looking field for Saturday's Raven Run. The Perryville, also a good race. And then on Sunday, the Grade 3 Dowager Stakes will be the feature there. That is fillies and mares going along on the turf. The sister race to the Sycamore, which we saw last week with those 1.5-milers on the turf. So the Dowager is your Sunday feature. I'll have an update for you tomorrow after scratches and changes are announced. You can check that out right here on X, on the @Keeneland Racing feed, and on Horse Player Now on X. And also, if you'd like to get updated selections and thoughts sent to your email inbox, sign up for the free publishing software Substack, jeremyplonk.substack.com. I'll have an update for you tomorrow again after scratches and changes, somewhere around the 11 o'clock hour, and we'll send that out to you each and every race day at Keeneland, as well as handicapping information from around the country and various racetracks, big races, Breeders' Cup coming up, so be sure to sign up for the free Substack, jeremyplonk.substack.com. Until then, I'll be back tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, to preview the Thursday card. Have a great night, everybody, and a big Wednesday playing Keeneland.